Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Tammy. Let's talk Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 6, Episode 6, Being Ladylike. The season is still very much chaotic. It's still very much, yeah, you know what I mean? But let's talk about it. So Melody goes to Tiffany's house. She wants to check on her after the blow up that was at the spa party. You know, remember Tiffany got into it with Kiki. It got loud. It got heated unnecessarily. Tiffany is pregnant, so we want to be cognizant of that. So Melody said that she works too damn hard to be associated with the type of vibe that was. The loudness, the swearing, the cursing, all this type of stuff. That's, it almost seems like Melody wants to clean up what's going on this show, or her image on this show, because maybe she wants to like pitch her own show or even move to a different type of show. You know what I mean? So it's like she wants to be removed from that because she might be wanting to pitch her own show. And in order to do that, you got to have a certain type of vibe in her mind. So she invites Tiffany to the tea party, said we're going to learn some etiquette. It's not even learning etiquette. It's learning how to behave as a functional adult. You know what I mean? Learning how to behave as an adult that knows how to talk without turning everything into an argument, without turning everything into a ruckus. That's really what this is, but let's call it etiquette. So she tells Tiffany that Martell showed up uninvited to their daughter's birthday parties. She said that she spoke to him 15 minutes before. She let Mariah call her father so that, she could at least talk to him. During that conversation, at the end, Martell gets on the phone with Melody and asks, why are you having a party and everybody else is invited and I am not invited? So we're hearing two conflicting stories. Martell is saying that Melody invited him and said that it was okay, but Melody is saying that she told him it wasn't. We found out last episode, or Melody told us last episode, that based on how the court system works down there, she gets even years, the father gets odd years, might have been vice versa, but they have select years, specific years they can have the children on their birthday. This was not Martell's year. So she said that she told him that he could even get the girls later that day. Later that day, you can get the girls, and then you can still have them on their birthday, even though I don't have to grant you that luxury. So she said that she called him after the party with Mariah on the phone. He told her, I'm not going to get you today. I'm assuming it was a Saturday. And she's like, nope, I'm going to get you Monday. I was watching Bondi's recap, and I guess according to Bondi and the people in her comments, this Mariah and Malia's party is the same day as Ross's party on Housewives of Atlanta. So he chose to go to the birthday party instead. I don't know what the truth is. Who knows? It could very well be. What we do know is that Melody is saying that, and she played the video where she's like, we called him, said he's not going to get her, so you just want to cause this commotion. She then said that, she wished she would have had her children with a man and not a queen. I said, oh. That was a lot to say, but hey, that's her truth, right? So she then said that everybody can bring a +1 to the tea party, so come on. Tiffany was like, oh, so that means backup with this group. Tiffany, girl, if you would really keep your nose in your own business, you wouldn't feel like you need backup constantly. So we get Maurice and Kimmy. They are talking about Monster. Finally, we get some insight into one of the Scott's family dynamic, right? Aside from like the very in-your-face, misogynistic, I am man, hear me roar type of living style that they got over at the Scout Point One, as they call themselves, Marceau and Tisha. We're getting some insight into Maurice and Kimmy. This is very simple. This is a very simple situation, right? So why are they still calling the child Monster? That's what bothers me. That's what bothers me. Nonetheless, Kimmy's frustration is Monster does not listen to her when she tells him to do stuff. She tells him to rake the leaves. That is his one chore or one of his chores. He doesn't do it. Maurice is like, yeah, I'm trying to get him to do his homework. So Maurice is having issues with Monster listening as well. He's what, a 15-year-old teenager. He's not going to listen. It is up to you to enforce that he does what you tell him to do because you are his parent. So Kimmy feels they're in the confessional, and Maurice is like, so, like, you just let him tell you no, you don't make him do it. Kimmy is like, I don't like the way that you're making it seem as if I am the problem. As if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be or trying to enforce the rules when you're having the same issue. Maurice then goes on to say, but yeah, the difference with me is I enforce it. Do you? Do you? Okay. Maurice is such a gaslighter. It is so irritating to watch. But because he's not very brazenly degrading Kimmy in front of everybody like Marceau does to Tisha, it just kind of goes over people's head, or Maurice thinks that we don't see it. He's very disrespectful. So he starts gaslighting Kimmy, saying, well, why should I have to enforce the rules that you made up? Kimmy is like, because if I'm telling him to rake the leaves, he does not rake the leaves, he's not raking them, you should be like, look, why are we still doing this? Do what, go rake the leaves. Like, it's wild. My dad used to do that all the time with us growing up. My mom would tell us to do something. We may not have got to it in a timely fashion. My dad had absolutely no problem being like, what did your mama say? Go do it. So it's wild that Maurice is not doing this. So then Kimmy is like, look, as a step parent, as a bonus parent, there are links to which I'm going to discipline. So then Maurice tries to flip it. You don't feel like you're Monster's parent? Like, why are you acting dense about this? That's not what she's saying. So then he's like, well, the issue with this is when you had the issue with Kiowa, and so now Monster thinks that, he can do whatever he wants to. He thinks he can do whatever he wants to because you, as the other parent in the house, let him think that he can do what he wants to. This is falling more on you, Maurice. This is falling on you. You are in the house. You're saying that he's not doing what Kimmy is asking him, the other parent, the other adult in the house. And you're not reinforcing that. A quick and simple sit down, you need to listen and do what Kimmy says will go a long way. But Maurice is refusing to do that. And I think it's because it then gives Maurice the upper hand in that household. It makes him feel like he's up here. I'm on the pedestal. Everybody only listens to me. Like, it's bullshit that he's even doing that. So he calls Kiowa for whatever reason, and then on FaceTime at that. Calls Kiowa, and it's like, Kimmy won't talk to you. Kimmy was like, I don't even know why he called you. So he's telling Kiowa, we're having a conversation about discipline with Monster, and Kimmy feels that she can't discipline Monster because she doesn't know how you're going to react. And Kimmy is like, that is absolutely not true. That's not true at all. So she tells Kiowa, I just feel that as a step parent, Maurice should be stepping in to reinforce what I am asking Monster to do. And Kiowa is like, I agree with that. 100% agrees. So then Maurice is like, so you're saying that Kimmy can discipline, you're okay with her disciplining Monster? And Kiowa is like, yes. He's like, Kimmy can discipline Monster the way she does Jalen. And Kiowa was like, Kimmy can discipline Monster the way that I would discipline Monster. That's giving a big range of discipline, right? So Maurice is like, oh. Well, I guess I'm just going to go ahead and get off the conversation because you seem very neutral. And it's like Maurice thought that he thought Kiowa was going to be like, don't put your hands on my son. Don't tell my son what to do. And because she didn't do that, Maurice looked stupid in the conversation. It was a pointless scene. It was a pointless scene because nothing got accomplished. Nothing got, what was the point of this? Aside from to see that Maurice just, one, doesn't really respect Kimmy the way that he would call his ex-wife to try to throw her under the bus real quick. For one, that's the biggest issue with that. So then we get a scene with Stormy and Kiki. They go and do some Reiki. Kiki is asking the lady a bunch of stuff like, how does this tie into Christianity and all this type of stuff. Stormy feels she might have misjudged Kimmy from Rip. You might really? You, the one that is getting misjudged by tons of people all over Twitter, and you're crying about it? Yes, you might have. I guess people don't know Tisha and Kimmy's dynamic, right? I just kind of feel like if two cousins are having an issue, who are y'all to step in and tell one of them that they're wrong when you don't know their entire dynamic? It's weird how they're so gun-ho on finding out the issue with Kiki and Tisha. And it's because nobody wants to put their business on this reality show. The easiest thing to do is, let's all jump on the Kiki-Tisha dynamic. Who cares? Cousins beef. Who cares? It does not affect y'all whatsoever. So this lady says she's going to open up their chakras, and Kiki is like, so I'm going to have, I can be able to like shock somebody. I said, you being real unserious up in this lady's face. Real unserious up in this lady's face. So she does the crystals, and she does the crystals. She goes over Stormy, tells Stormy she moves from purity. She's on a different level of energy than others, but then tells her she has some pent up, I don't know if she said negative energy, but some energy that she needs to release so that new pure energy can come in. When she goes over to Kiki, she tells her that her words carry power. She needs to be careful with them. That went in one ear and out the other, because Kiki says a bunch of ignorant, rude shit later at the tea party. So Kiki is talking to Stormy, and it's like, my words, words do have power. I'm working on being, more intentional with the stuff that I say. Stormy was like, well, at least they're not calling you ghetto. Kiki is like, they said I was from the other end, the other side of the tracks, which is, just as bad as, I guess, as calling somebody ghetto. Nobody wants to be told that they're from the other side of the tracks. You just don't. So Kiki is like, who cares? You're not ghetto, so why do you care? So Kiki then wants to talk to Tiffany without it becoming a big rah-rah situation. And she's like, she doesn't know if they can do that. Stormy is like, no, you definitely can, because she's pregnant. She's pregnant. I feel like, yes, that is a reason to not go there. But like Kiki said, Tiffany needs to remember she's pregnant too. Tiffany is doing a lot for a person that is pregnant. You're giving a lot, you're doing a lot, you're doing too much. So Stormy says that she told Courtney, Tiffany doing all this arguing with Kiki, that baby's going to come out looking like her. Because the old saying is, when you're pregnant, whoever you do a lot of arguing with, that's what the baby comes out and looks like. Kiki was like, that would be a great thing. Kiki swear. Kiki swear she is top tier in the looks department. I mean, Kiki and Tisha, their whole family, Kiki and Tisha, that other cousin, they're beautiful. They are. But Kiki is like, girl, who cares? That would be great for her. So we then get a scene with Martell and Maurice. I guess Maurice is redoing. Is that the same office space that they're in now? But he said he's going to put his law firm downstairs. The waiting room is upstairs. That seems wild to me, that the waiting room is going to be upstairs. But so we're going to walk past the meeting. Whatever. So then they're talking about how, we're going to paint it and decorate it and all this type of stuff. And Martell they start talking about the party. And Martell was like, yeah, Melody, said she was going to call the police on me. And Maurice was like, what? Like, were y'all arguing? Like, what was going on before that? Martell was like, no, nothing happened. You don't remember the screaming that you was doing in the hallway? Something definitely happened. So then he's like, we had a little back and forth. And he tried to make it seem as if Melody just outright was like, I'm going to call the police on you. When that's not what happened. So Maurice is like, y'all gotta find a way to work together to where this does not affect your children. You guys have to come to an understanding. So they then start talking about Monster and how he's not listening. And Maurice is like, I'm envious of my son. Like, I wonder what I would be if I had everything that he has. And Marcel is like the same or worse because children that are spoiled and sheltered and have all that stuff, they, those are the ones that kind of wild out as well too because they're used to getting their way and getting everything. So Maurice is like, well, we take things away, right? We take away stuff and he just adjusts, so we don't know what to do. So you're mad that you take your son's phone away and he adjusts without it? Then find something else to do. Find another form of punishment. Are you taking the phone away and still letting him watch TV? Are you taking the phone away but not the laptop? Kids know how to text and do whatever on everything. He could be texting on his like smartwatch. Who knows? He could be on FaceTime. He could be talking to his friends like through the PS5. Like there are ways that these kids communicate. So Martell is saying how he was the same way when he was that age, but sports and the ROTC is what helped to cause structure for him because he had absolutely no structure at home. We know because your mama clearly feels that nothing that you do was ever wrong. So we know there was no structure in that household when you were growing up. So Martell basically tells him you need to check that in, get it together, work on that now because Maurice does not want society to walk all over his child. And it's like, well, get it in line now. You too busy worrying about what Kimmy isn't doing. Worry about what you aren't doing as well. So we get to the tea party. Stormy brought her mom. I felt like that was just, I don't know. I felt like Stormy bringing her mom was super petty. It was childish. You wanted your mom to come so that your mom can bring up the issue with you and Melody because you don't want to do it yourself, because Stormy is probably thinking that, well, if I have my mom bring it up, then it's not going to look as if, I'm the issue. Maybe I won't look as bad on TV when it's like, I think it makes you look worse that you bringing your mama to be your mouthpiece. Just like the way Tisha will bring Miss Wanda to be her mouthpiece. Point blank, Stormy just shouldn't have been. Stormy is not built for reality TV because Stormy can't handle the fans. Love and Marriage Huntsville fans are on another level of crazy. They have a stand, and they are so tunnel vision on that particular person that they're standing, and they just go crazy and attacking people. And it seems to be like the older viewership. It seems to be the older viewership that attaches themselves to either loving or hating somebody on the show, and then they start attacking everybody else. I mean, we saw Stormy have some issue with a fan just this past weekend. Stormy can't handle reality TV. She's enjoying the perks of it, but she can't take the cons. She's cool with the pros of it, but she can't take the cons of it. So the woman is telling them, I think her name was Miss Charlotte, she is telling them that, somebody, when you use a lot of curse words, then that means you lack vocabulary, because Stormy asked, how does, cursing fall into etiquette? And Stormy is like, but no, it just means I like those words. Those are my favorite words. And she's like, I like to be like, damn, that's a cold fucking shirt. And it's like, obviously I cuss, but I think there are some people that do cuss too much, right? But I feel like if you're going to ask somebody a question, don't argue them down about the answer. You ask the lady, how does your cursing fit into the grand scheme of etiquette? She's telling you, and then you get overly defensive and you're going back and forth with her. That's counterproductive. That is counterproductive. So Then we have Nell who was there. She said, well, let's get to like the energy in this room. There's, this kind of weird energy. There's tension. And I think it's between Stormy and Melody. So then Stormy's mom is like, actually, it might be between Stormy's mom and Melody. And Nell is like, oh, I don't know Stormy's mom. I'm Stormy's mom. And it's like, Miss Betty, you doing a whole lot. And I just, there is absolutely, tootally, fruitily, doodly, brutally, no reason for Stormy's mom to be on the show. Absolutely not. I don't know if Carlos King if he's trying to follow like the loving hip hop mode where he thinks there has to be a very like loud, crass mother on the show, but it doesn't need to be. There is no reason for Stormy's mother to be on this show as much as she is. Absolutely. So Nell is like, okay, well, I didn't know that you were her mother. Okay, so there seems to be energy. So then Betty is like, well, I'll talk about it when there's not other people involved, because now there's an extra person involved. And Nell is like, what? Like, no, I'm not trying to be involved. I just pointed out that there's energy. So then Stormy interrupts Nell and it's like, she's going to talk about it when she's ready, but that's whenever you stop. And see, Stormy does stuff like that, and her mama behaved horridly during this scene. And then when the fans and the viewers get on Twitter and Instagram and tell her about herself and tell her how unnecessary it was to talk to Nell like that, who wasn't rude, who wasn't aggressive, who didn't have energy with her, she's gonna be the first one crying about it. That whole, I want people to know that they can say whatever they want to say, how they want to say it, and don't be apologetic for it, that shit is stupid. Yeah, go ahead and do it. Say whatever it is you want to say, how you want to say it. But then you can't get mad. You can't get mad when people come at you with the same type of energy. The way they were talking to Nell was completely unnecessary. So then Nell was like, that's fine. I'm a big girl. I'm a grown up. I can take that. I'm just saying I didn't know. That is literally it. So then the etiquette lady, she was like, well, Stormy, that was rude. She was talking. So I just didn't want to forget. And it's like, I like Stormy, but I don't. I just don't think Stormy is a good fit for the show. Because I feel like Stormy, much like Tiffany, much like Destiny, are trying so hard to solidify their spot on this show. So hard. And it's like they come in, they do too much, and then they're shocked and appalled when the backlash comes back at them. Silly. So Melody said that, because I guess Betty said that she doesn't like the way that Melody treats or talks about Stormy, and that she does not like Stormy. Melody said that when I was on the reunion, I said that Stormy and her husband literally represent what Love and Marriage Huntsville should have been about. A happily married couple, seemingly happily married couple, showcasing their business in a positive aspect. She said, I'm not going to say that about somebody that I don't like. Betty then goes on to say that she feels that Melody should have said that it was not Stormy. So remember last year, Destiny played the recording of a conversation inside that Melody and I guess Stormy were having. Okay, I don't remember if it was something that was actually on the show, or maybe it was after the cameras went down. Nonetheless, nobody knows. A lot of Melody's fans got on Twitter and ran with the fact that it was Stormy. Melody never said blatantly it was not Stormy. She just said it was not the person in my house. That is what she said. Miss Betty feels that Melody should have came out and said directly it was not Stormy, because she don't like the way her daughter got dragged on social media and all this other kind of stuff. But then, Miss Betty, maybe you need to be cussing out social media. But should Melody have said it wasn't Stormy? She could have. But is it Melody's fault that the world thought it was Stormy? I don't think so. But what Stormy is going to find out the hard way is that having your mom come on TV to fight your battles or just fight your battles like this in life is not the way to handle things. Not as an adult. So Betty then then Melody is like, I'm sorry if you were offended by my tweet. And she's like, well, I'm going to shut you down real quick. Shut up. And that's when it's like, who the fuck are you talking to? Mama or not, your mama's being real rude, because that's when I have to address Stormy and check her, because you're sitting here watching your mama be overly rude for no reason. You told your mama in the very first episode that when she goes off and she does all this kind of stuff, then it falls back on her, which is true. But Stormy likes that, because that way Stormy can say, well, it wasn't me, it was my mama. The same stuff that Tisha used to do when it came to Miss Wanda. So they decide to just, I guess, leave it at that. But it's like, this was another stupid conversation, because Stormy needs to check her mom. Stormy has to check her mom. Like her mom being mad at a tweet is just completely stupid. So then Kiki, it's like, well, I want to talk, I have an issue with Tiffany. And it's like, of course. So Tiffany said that she does not entertain mess. Kiki said, no, you just spew it. Tiffany said that she talked to Tisha, and she was telling Tisha that she did not care for the way that Kiki was coming at her, because if she'll do that to family, she'll do it to her. So Kiki then goes on to say that Tiffany has been lying. There's a difference between knowing of somebody and knowing somebody. She said, Kiki said that her son has played on Lewis's baseball team. She said, we have been around each other. You have met my husband. You have met my in-laws. You have met my daughter. I have met your family. So she doesn't know why Tiffany likes to keep saying that she doesn't know her. And Tiffany didn't have a response initially. Tiffany was then like, my issue is that you were being introduced as Melody's friend and not Tisha's cousin. Tiffany, why does that affect you? Why do you care about that? Why do you care? Honestly and truly, why do you care about that? That is the dumbest thing to be mad about. Kiki has never once that I can recall denied being Tisha's cousin. Why does it bother you? Shouldn't that be an issue you take up with production? Shouldn't that be an issue you take up with production? Again, Tiffany is always interjecting herself into somebody else's business for absolutely no reason. So they go back and forth, and then it comes out where Kiki is like, you do know me though, because then Tiffany was like, well, your son played on Lewis's team for a moment. We've never actually sat down and talked. Kiki was like, yeah, we have, because when Melody was trying to help you find your father, I was a part of that whole crusade, where then we get a flashback where Kiki knew somebody up in Utah or whatever the case. So Tiffany is like, but did you follow up? Kiki is like, but did you? So then Kimmy is like, did you follow up with her? Kiki is like, well, why should I? That's her dad. And Kimmy is like, but if you said you were going to help her, why wouldn't you follow up? So while Kimmy is trying to understand, like, why the conversation or the communication ended, in that moment, Kiki looks over and was like, and I do know my dad for the record. And everybody is like, but... We come back from commercial break, and everybody is telling Kiki that was rude, it was out of line, it was a dig. So now Miss Charlotte, who probably said, I did not sign up for this shit here. It's like that, everybody needs to calm down. This is part of, etiquette, being a lady, learning how to have a conversation as an adult. You say what you have to say. It is then up to Tiffany to respond, deny, agree, whatever, and then that's how a communication works. It's not you going roar all the time because you want to talk over her and get out as much information as you can on top of the dig. Kiki said that's not a dig. I do know my daddy. Girl, I know my father too. But I'm never going to tell somebody that, when they're in the midst, and like we know that Tiffany's kind of identity on the show is that she is adopted. She has been trying to figure, she was trying to find her father. I'm never going to throw that in somebody's face. I know my daddy though. Like, what? So Kiki is arguing people down. Melody, Tisha, everybody at the table is like, no, that was definitely a dig. Kimmy said, hear me and hear me good. Because I want to make sure you understand. That was a dig. And if it wasn't, it was a horrible thing to say. So then Kimmy is like, Kiki is still confused. Like, she's like, so, well, if you took it as a dig, I apologize. It wasn't meant to be that way. She just wants them to know that she knows her father. Nobody asked you. Not one person asked you if you knew your father. Not one person asked you if you knew your father at that table. The topic isn't about you and your father. So then Melody is like, all right, let's wrap this shit up because this went the complete opposite way that it should have went. And Melody starts passing out gifts, and she tells Stormy it's not a Gucci, but it's still a gift. And I guess Stormy takes offense to that as well. It's almost like Stormy just does not want to talk about her life, her marriage. She's cool with talking about her business, but she wants to get into the root of her talking about her family, because what happened to you and Courtney talking about him not wanting another child. So instead, Stormy is going to try to have an issue with whoever she can, because she tried it with Kiki. That got rectified by episode 6. So now we're going to see her have an issue with Melody because Melody said it's not a Gucci purse, but this is still a gift. It's silly. Next episode, Sheree is there. I guess Tiffany's going to try to come for her. I'm going to tell Tiffany now, even though we give Sheree a hard time on over on Atlanta on Housewives, y'all are not ready to go toe to toe with Sheree. Tiffany especially. You are not ready to go toe to toe with Sheree. Tread lightly, girl, because that's definitely not what you want to do. It's not. But if you have made it this far in the video, thank you. I appreciate all the support. If you have not already, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, hop in the comment section, and remember, a reply to a comment is not an argument, it is a conversation. Catch you guys in the next